After years in the void, the gate is finally opening again. Stargate is returning to television, and this time, the adventure is bigger than ever. Stick around, you're not going to want to miss this. Well, hey everyone, I'm Nick and welcome back to Sci-Finatics. Well, I've got some amazing news today. As has been reported recently, Stargate is coming back to TV after a huge break of about 14 or 15 years. Stargate is returning with a new series to television. This is fantastic news. Stargate SG-1 and Stargate Atlantis were amongst some of my favourite sci-fi TV series back in the late 90s and early noughties. I think all the incarnations of Star Trek and Stargate and also Babylon 5 around that time, it was a real heyday for sci-fi on TV. We were quite spoilt with 22 episode seasons and so many great sci-fi shows on TV. It was really a great time for sci-fi. And the great thing about that is that finally we're going to be getting some new Stargate on our TV screens. But what's more exciting about this is that the original creative team that brought us Stargate SG-1 and Stargate Atlantis, Brad Wright, Martin Gero and so forth, who were involved with the original series, are back. This isn't a brand new team that's going to muck around with it and change it. It's not going to end up like Star Trek Discovery Season 1 or Section 31, where you look at this new show and you go, oh, this isn't really what I remember Stargate as being. It's got the original creative team working on this show, which is fantastic. And these guys have actually said they don't plan to muck around with the formula whatsoever. Like, you're going to be able to watch this show and recognize it as being Stargate. There's been so many shows in recent years where you look at it and you go, oh, well, it's got that name attached, but does it really feel like I'm watching this franchise? Most notably, some of the incarnations of Star Trek, particularly Section 31, where you just look at it and you go, that's not Star Trek. Just because it's got a Star Trek name slapped on it doesn't make it Star Trek. But Martin Gero and Brad Wright and the other creatives or whatever who are on board for this production, who are part of the team that, as I said, brought us the original Stargate shows, they actually say you're going to be able to watch this new show and it's going to have the same tone, the same flavour, the same levity and a little bit of humour in it. They're going to be exciting episodes. It's going to be identifiably Stargate. And this is information that most fans would be so happy to hear. To be able to watch a beloved franchise that we've come to love and recognise it as that show. Now, obviously, they need to bring in new audiences. Much like Star Trek, they can't just keep relying on nostalgia bait and, bring in the old cast and everything. So, from the sounds of it, it's going to be a brand new cast. Brand new cast of people. There's going to be a lot of appeal there for younger audiences who probably even haven't seen Stargate before. They're coming in completely fresh. So they don't want to have to make it so that only people who have watched SG-1, Atlantis and Universe and so forth are going to be able to recognise this. It's going to be a show that the historical fans are going to love, but also it's going to bring in new audience as well, but keep that same flavour. Which really is such comforting news, to know that the show is in good hands. The people behind it are the people originally behind it. It would be like a new Star Trek series being announced and Ronald D. Moore and Brannon Braga were behind it or whatever. You have that extra level of confidence when the people who are creatively behind it were part of the original team that made it so amazing. Now, the other piece of news that's quite interesting is the fact that not only are Martin Gero and Brad Wright involved in this show, who were the original writers and producers and so forth, the original SG-1 series, but also Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich, who were responsible for the Stargate movie back in 1994. These guys are involved in this series as well, so this is kind of like the first time that they've brought together the movie producing Stargate people and the TV producing Stargate people. So this blending of cinema and television is going to be a really interesting blending of the people who made Stargate what it is. Now, the movie did have a slightly darker tone than the TV series, but with what Martin Gero and Brad Wright have said, implies that they're going to keep that same level of levity that was in the TV series. So that's a good way to go, I think. Now, we don't know too many details yet beyond what has come out just in terms of the announcement. We know it's going to be on on Amazon Prime Video because Amazon have the rights to MGM content, and obviously the original Stargate series was made through MGM. And that we know that a pilot script has been written for this new show, but beyond that, there's not too many details. From what Martin Gero and the other creatives have talked about publicly, it seems like, you know, they're not opposed to maybe having cameo appearances from the original cast. Actually, I would be surprised if we didn't see the original cast in some capacity in this show. I don't think they're going to be part of the main cast per se. That would probably surprise me if Michael Shanks and Amanda Tapping and Richard Dean Anderson came back to reprise their roles, or even Christopher Judge. But it would seem more likely that it'll be a new Stargate team, and they'll be going off on missions through the Stargate and all that sort of stuff. But we're probably getting legacy characters making guest appearances and so forth. Would probably be what I'm thinking. This isn't necessarily going to be like a Star Trek Picard equivalent of Stargate, where we roll out Richard Dean Anderson and he's walking up the Stargate ramp with a walking frame or anything like that. Because let's face it, some of the original casts from some of these shows we love are getting on a little bit in age and so forth. So my feeling would be that we're going to get probably the legacy cast returning in some way, shape or form for maybe select appearances, but maybe not necessarily part of the regular cast. So this is amazing news. Big fan of Stargate. It's been a long time since Stargate's been on our TVs, and to be completely honest about my Stargate fandom, huge fan of SG-1, huge fan of Atlantis, not so much a fan of Universe. I kind of started watching Stargate Universe, and it's like, this isn't as good as the previous two series. But I was a huge fan of SG-1 and a huge fan of Atlantis, but Universe didn't grab me. And I suppose that in the sense that show only ran for 2 seasons, probably didn't appeal to as many people as the preceding 2 series had. So that's probably not an uncommon observation. But yeah, I'm guessing this new show is going to be more along the lines of follow-on from SG-1, particularly when they've said this isn't going to be a reboot. This isn't going to be a reboot of the original show. It's going to be a continuation down the track, following on from what has been established before. Very comforting news. But what do you guys think? Were you a fan of Stargate SG-1 and Stargate Atlantis and the other Stargate shows and stuff as well? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Is this a show you're excited about watching? Is this something that you go, oh yes, I can't wait for more Stargate to come back to TV? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section and we'll get chatting about that. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to Sci-Finatics yet, please be sure to do so. Click on that big subscribe button to stay current and up to date with all the latest sci-fi TV news on YouTube. Also be sure to check out my merch. In the merch, plenty of cool t-shirts and hoodies, mugs, caps, stickers, all that sort of stuff to check out there. Always at very reasonable discount prices. In fact, there's big sales at the moment because of it's Black Friday week and everything. So be sure to take advantage of the Black Friday sales in my merch store while they're on. I'll be back soon with my next video. Catch you guys soon.